Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. In our top story, the Virgin Islands Port Authority Board of Governors voted in executive session at its regularly scheduled board meeting today to release its executive director, Carlton Dow, from his contract without cause, pursuant to Section 8 in the employment agreement between VIPA and Dow. Assistant Executive Director David Mapp has been named acting executive director of the Port Authority. Dow said he has the utmost respect for the Port Authority team, and he sent out an electronic letter addressed to the VIPA family. He said, quote, "The governing board of directors voted on December 21st, 2016 to immediately terminate my contract without cause. It is to this end that I personally write to you, the staff, to say thank you and let you know that it has been my distinct honor and privilege to serve as the executive director for the Virgin Islands Port Authority. My results-driven, can-do spirit has been evident during my time with VIPA. I could not have done this without your commitment and dedication of service." He then went on to list some of the accomplishments achieved, such as bond ratings, successfully negotiated contracts, the 10-year agreement with Royal Caribbean, and the Red Hook parking lot projects, just to name a few. He said, "We were not without our challenges, but the future remains bright for the Port Authority." In other news, members of the 31st Legislature, led by Senator Neville James, at the request of Governor Kenneth Mapp, as we reported, convened in special session at the Capitol building on Wednesday and voted to hold in committee Bill number 31-0497, the Virgin Islands Revenue Enhancement and Economic Recovery Act of 2017. The measure seeks to amend Title 33, Sections 42 and 54 of the Virgin Islands Code to enhance revenues for the territory of the USVI, as part of the implementation of initiatives set forth in the government's 5-year financial plan towards attaining fiscal stability and economic growth, and for other purposes, including the establishment of a new timeshare fee and the creation of the VIESA contingent reserve account. Lawmakers rose out of special session and went into the committee of the whole to receive testimony from Valdemar Collins, Commissioner of the Department of Finance and the Executive Director of the Virgin Islands Public Finance Authority. The Department of Human Services takes a proactive approach to protect the territory by discussing health strategies. Commissioner-designee Dr. Anita Roberts met with health fellow Subruto Banerjee of the United States Department of the Interior Office of Insular Affairs this morning to discuss areas where federal policies can help improve the program implementation in the territory. Policies that impact health and human services enacted in the continental United States may or may not necessarily fit our island's needs. The discussion covered ideas such as developing a stronger relationship between OIA and HHS. Here's more.
Today I'm on St. Thomas. Yesterday I was on St. Croix, and meeting with government and private and NGO stakeholders to obtain their inputs and their ideas, areas of priority, areas which could be considered by our departments to help influence some policy changes or administrative changes. It isn't my job to make those changes. It's my job to bring that information together and between our departments present that to our additional stakeholders.
Our Medicaid program, which is a very valuable program here in the territory, and with the idea that we need to formulate a task force. And I, for one, am a person that wants to be proactive in this. So the Department of Human Services is going to do everything in our power to make sure that we're on that task force and that we don't reinvent wheels and that we're not delayed and that we look toward perhaps changing rates, working with the new administration that's coming in, the new secretary. It's really important to develop these relationships early on.
The online assessments were administered, and today the Department of Education announced the results of its 2015-2016 Smarter Balance assessments in English language, arts, and mathematics. Officials all say while they are encouraged by the gains made this year compared to first-year scores in 2014-2015, they continue to work hard to ensure growth is accelerated. The annual Smarter Balance tests are aligned to the Common Core State Standard, also referred to as the College and Career Readiness Standards, that are being taught in VI public schools. Here's more.
this is not something that we do only in the sense of the testing window. This is a living, breathing process that we are engaged in from the very first day that our children report to school to the ending of school in June, and it drives the process and the planning over the summer months so that we can improve the delivery of services to our children the next school year. And yes, there is room for growth, for improvement, and we will never be satisfied until we get every student across that threshold. It is a work in progress, and as I said, a living, breathing entity, but it is driving our direction to achieving the success that we desire for the entire territory in regards to all of our students.
And we will have more details on Thursday's newscast. Governor Mapp continues to encourage the community to report any information regarding all homicides in the territory, and more so the tragic death of the 18-month-old child that occurred in St. Thomas last week. Moved by the impact of the crime on the community, Mr. Dennis Alphonse of Low Price Maintenance and Construction, along with his friend, his longtime friend, Senator Marvin Blyden, they contacted the governor and delivered a check for an additional $5,000 to add to the current $15,000 award originally authorized by Governor Mapp and an anonymous donor. Governor Mapp noted Mr. Alphonse was compelled to contribute when he heard of the governor's reward, stating, "We all have to participate in making the Virgin Islands a safer place. When violence occurs here, it affects all residents." For the last year, Mr. Alphonse has self-funded a radio contest aimed at preventing and reporting crime. He provides a prize of $105 to each winner of a brainstorming contest on 105.3 Jams, and all he asks in return that if the winner sees something, they say something. Mr. Alphonse implemented this promotion after he noticed, he said, how crime was affecting the young people in the community. The governor thanked Mr. Alphonse and Senator Blyden for their efforts and contributions. Governor Mapp reminded anyone with information on Wednesday night's shooting to contact the VIPD Homicide Task Force at 340-774-2211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, or call 911. Antonio Sanis Carmona, 45 of St. Croix, pleaded guilty today before U.S. Magistrate Judge George Cannon Jr. to possession of child pornography. His sentencing is scheduled for April 20th, 2017. According to the plea agreement filed with the court on August 17, 2016, Sanis Carmona was part of a peer-to-peer network on the internet where he used his desktop computer to possess 51 images of child pornography. The images showed minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct with adults and other minors. Sanis Carmona faces a term of imprisonment of not more than 10 years and a fine of not more than $250,000. He has been detained since August 19, 2016. The Coast Guard offloaded approximately 200 kilograms of cocaine worth an estimated $6.6 million wholesale value and transferred custody of 3 suspected smugglers Friday to U.S. federal law enforcement authorities in the Dominican Republic. The interdiction and contraband seizure is a result of ongoing multi-agency law enforcement efforts in support of Operation Unified Resolve and Operation Caribbean Guard that involves the VI. During the evening of December 14th, the crew of the Customs and Border Protection Maritime Patrol aircraft on a patrol detected a suspicious go-fast vessel suspected of smuggling contraband in the Caribbean Sea, and the Coast Guard cut a Winslow Greasler, interdicted the vessel, detained the 3 suspected smugglers, and seized numerous bales, which tested positive for cocaine. Well, according to the Department of Health, the territory saw 23 new confirmed cases in the territory of Zika. So there are now 619 confirmed cases on St. Thomas, 177 on St. Croix, and 68 on St. John. The number of confirmed cases of dengue on St. Croix remains at 15, 29 on St. Thomas, and 2 on St. John. The number of confirmed cases of Zika in pregnant women increased by 1 to 104. The German Federal Prosecutor's Office issued a wanted notice on Wednesday for Anis Amri, a 24-year-old Tunisian man. He is wanted in connection with Monday's attack on the Christmas market in Berlin. The wanted notice asks the public for its help in the manhunt, warning that Amri could be violent and armed. Well, instead of preparing for the Christmas holiday, families in Mexico are mourning after explosions rocked a fireworks market Tuesday, with one fireworks stall after another exploding in succession. Firefighters were forced to let the unexploded items go off after the initial blast. Reed Binion reports.
A series of deadly explosions ripping through a fireworks market north of Mexico City Tuesday. Bystanders desperately running for their lives.
To tell you the truth, I do not know how I ran out of here. Everything was so horrible.
The blasts leaving dozens of people dead and scores more injured. Columns of smoke and the sound of emergency sirens filling the air in the immediate aftermath of the blasts. Well after the explosions, the ground still smoldering amid splintered wood and twisted metal. The town of Tultepec is known for its pyrotechnics industry, and the popular San Pablito market, the size of a soccer stadium, would have been very crowded heading into the holidays, leaving loved ones of those missing fearing the worst.
We are looking for my niece's boyfriend. Here is the photo so anyone can identify him. We have been calling the hospitals and they haven't given us any information.
In addition to victims treated at area hospitals, 3 minors were expected to be transferred to a hospital in Galveston, Texas for extreme burns. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Keeping our eye on the economy, large banks still charging you big bucks in overdraft fees. In a report by the Few Charitable Trusts, the median overdraft fee among banks surveyed is $36. According to the nonprofit, many of the nation's biggest banks also employ unfair practices that make it more likely customers will overdraw their accounts multiple times. The group has called on federal regulators to set reasonable limits on overdraft charges and banning the practice of clearing transactions from highest amount to lowest instead of chronologically, a move that tends to drain an account more quickly and trigger the most fees. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, we can see everything down. The Dow 32, NASDAQ down 12, S&P 500 also down at 5. Coming up on News 2, officials complete a site inspection of renovations on Fort Christian in Shalamali, St. Thomas. An update on the renovations. Decorations adorn the stage and surroundings, complemented by bright colors worn by students, created a festive mood as the Alfredo Andrews Elementary School auditorium was transformed into Christmaslandia. That's on Friday, December 16th. The highly spirited students, filled with the joy of the season, they took to the stage by grade level to entertain faculty and staff, parents, family, and friends. Students from kindergarten to the 6th grade sang Christmas carols, danced and recited poems to help bring in the season early during the school's holiday program. The Alfredo Andrews Elementary School Steel Orchestra, they closed out the entertainment with a popular Christmas carol. Yvonne Milner-Bowski Elementary School Music Department, they're presenting a Christmas Celebration 2016. It's going on at the BCB Middle School Auditorium this evening. The community is invited to come out and enjoy this musical holiday cheer. Again, that's going on as we speak. The executive management and staff of the Juan F. Louis Hospital Medical Center on Tuesday showered 2 local families with presents for each family member and enough food to provide a hearty holiday meal for Christmas. It's the 2nd year in a row that Juan F. Louis employees have supported 2 needy families as part of the Juan F. Louis Adopt a Family program, or the Juan F. Louis Cares initiative, where employees embark on projects that assist the community. Both families were provided to Juan F. Louis through Catholic Charities and the Bethlehem House Shelter, and each family includes a single mom and 5 children, ranging in ages from a newborn to 14 years of age. December 29th, as we take a look at the festival schedule, is the Rita Shiverton Centennial Village opening in the parking lot near the Paul E. Joseph Stadium in Frederickstead. And then January 2nd, we look forward to Cultural Night Village. Wednesday, January 4th, it's Juve time. And then also on Wednesday, there's the Food and Arts and Crafts Fair. Wednesday that evening, it's Reggae Night in the Village. Thursday, January 5th, Latin Night in the Village. Friday, January 6th, it's the Children's Parade. Saturday, January 7th, is the Adults Parade. And again, on Saturday, January 7th, there's Caribbean Night and then closing fireworks there in the village. Just a reminder, Christmas Day, December 25th, and New Year's Day, January 1st, of course, are both legal holidays and have fallen on a Sunday. Christmas second day is also a Virgin Islands holiday. Governor Kenneth Mapp, by proclamation, has authorized commissioners and agency heads to grant administrative leave to non-essential employees working in the government of the Virgin Islands to enjoy the festival season and to encourage greater participation in the Juve Festival Food, Arts and Crafts Fair and Children's Parade. And as we take a look there, St. Croix only, it's Wednesday, January 4th, 2017 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Territory-wide, Friday, December 23rd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Friday, December 30th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday, January 2nd, the leave is also granted, should not apply to essential employees and employees on a regular or rotating shift. Governor Mapp and former Governor Charles Turnbull were joined by DPNR Commissioner Don Henry and Custom Builders Senior Executive, the general contractor on the project, to complete a site inspection of renovations on Fort Christian in Shalamali, St. Thomas. Now, the total budget for the renovation of the fort is $2,076,549 for Phase 1, $911 million for Phase 2, and an estimated $1.5 million for the third phase. Renovations on the project began in 2005 with Tip Top Construction and Custom Builders was awarded a new contract to perform the renovation work in 2014. Custom Builders substantially completed Phase 1 on June 24, 2015. Commissioner Henry and the team at DPNR have been able to identify additional funding to renovate the courtyard with the assistance of the PFA. Governor Mapp bypassed one of his PFA projects to allow for the courtyard to be funded. Custom Builders restarted the work on the fort in November with the mission to complete Phase 2 in time for the centennial. Well, this is what community is all about. The shelter you're about to see is just about complete thanks to residents coming together. Now, the shelter was at first a couple of benches that a neighbor built for the children. It was run over by a vehicle during an accident, and Rotary East Kappa Smithby Association contacted My Brother's Workshop, who rebuilt the benches over a year and a half ago. The organization did a fundraiser in the neighborhood with organizations and a fundraiser over a year ago, and now work will continue every Saturday until completion, starting at 8:30 a.m. So if anyone wants to join in to assist, you can call 340-513-4041. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
Well, we had a relatively cloudy day here across the islands. I'm AccuWeather's Shanae Shocker. Now, down across the Caribbean, we do have an upper level area right here that's going to begin to fall apart, but this system has been what's in charge of more so of the scattered showers as well as those easterly trade winds. But over the next couple of hours and into tomorrow, this system going to begin to break apart. So a lot of these showers south of St. Thomas and into St. John, south of those places will begin to die down, especially in towards St. Croix as well. But for tonight across St. John and into St. Thomas, less likely chance of seeing some of those spottier showers from that upper level trough, but we are going to see nonetheless the slight chances for those showers. 74 degrees for our low. Higher chances this evening of seeing those showers out towards St. Croix. Now for our Thursday, we're looking at possibility of a shower or two throughout the area, including in St. John as well as St. Thomas. But as the day wears on, down, we'll be seeing some more sunshine as well and a lot less of those clouds. Now, St. Croix, out of all the parts of the island, is going to be seeing the higher or a more likely chance of seeing a lot of those showers throughout tomorrow. Now, we do have a small craft advisory in effect. We do have some of those swells getting pretty large. Our waves 5 to 9 feet and our winds out the east 10 to 15 knots. That's on the Atlantic, and the same story goes for the Caribbean side of the island as well. Now, as we look forward out the rest of our week, we'll see that spotty trade wind shower continue throughout the weekend, but then as the weekend wears on and into next week, we'll begin to see those showers begin to dissipate, the trade wind becoming much lighter as well, and then we'll have an uptick as we head towards the latter half of the weekend. Back to you, Sandy.
Thanks for that. Well, not too bad. Our News 2 weather picture there is by Jenilis Saldana of Ricardo Richards Elementary School. And Jenilis likes to take a walk, take in the sights and sounds, and it's nice to do so, especially when the weather is nice. Jenilis, thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen, and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for now. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest. I'm Sandra Gaman saying have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time.